mean, to compare, it's really not possible. Turkey in 2002 was totally from the inflation, from the very, very high inflations of the last 20-something years, since the 70s, starting of the 70s with the oil crisis, I think 74, somewhere around that. These 25 years, very, very high inflationary, made the country go totally out of the middle class. So we had a very, very few upper classes, and then nothing. And right now, today, as I just tried to explain, we already have a middle class again. It's back here. So the average Turk has a computer. Everybody has 1 point something of those things here. And I mean, the question should be maybe how, because to explain what is the difference, everybody sees that you just need to go out. I mean, everybody coming to Turkey, and it doesn't have to be Istanbul anymore. Before it was only Istanbul, the show-off. I mean, the showcase was Istanbul, but right now you can go everywhere. You go to Urfa or whatever, and you will see the difference. Right now, I have friends who are building business hotels, 4 stars, even 5 stars, to a lot of Marash and cities like that. And I mean, if a businessman invests in millions and millions in such hotels, that means he has clientele. So that means business is there. And so it's not only tourism. And I believe the question should be, I'm sorry if I say that like that, but it should be not what is the difference. As I said, it's like black and white. I mean, come on, $600 per capita income to 11,000 something per capita income within the biggest crisis in the world's history after the Second World War. I mean, it is like black and white, and the trend is still going up. The trend is still going up. I mean, we have what, 9% again, and people, of course, start to talk about overheating and stuff like that. But anyway, I'll talk maybe later about that. How it came to that, why it wasn't like that before, is, in my eyes, it's very simple. If I may say so, people outside of the country were influenced by the Turkish media and some Turkish people who have businesses outside, etc., and thought, oh, we have an Islamist, whatever that means, an Islamist government in front of us. Well, we tried to say, and I think now everybody should by now understand, the main issue of this, the main idea of this government was not Islam, it was business. We have a business guy as a prime minister. He is a businessman, he thinks business. The Turks, because of the social structure also of Turkish people who are very, very young, I believe 25.6 or something like that in average age. When you compare it with Germany, I think Germany is 40-something, 44 maybe, 42, I'm not sure, years of average age. Because the Turks are so young, it is, of course, the minus is very clear. We need jobs. Education is the thing. But on the other hand, the plus is this young generation is open to everything. So much hungry to understand, hungry to learn. And it was not very difficult to get a computer to every single school, to every single primary school in this country. We started with nearly 0. We have now 90-something. It's all covered up until the last primary school in the Iraqi border. There is internet with a computer, at least one computer there. Because when we thought, how are we getting, I'm sorry, who are we? I mean, you know, I tried to help the Prime Minister in his task. When we thought how to deal with the problems, it was education. and education, how to get the bigger steps. We needed to do 10 steps when the others are doing one. So the only thing, you can't do libraries or whatever, but you have to go to the net. So that's why we invested a lot in IT. And maybe, you know, maybe not, until 2004 budget. Until the budget of 2004, which was presented in 2003. It was since the beginning of the Republic, 1923, all the budget, number one was, of course, the so-called defense, military budget. And since now it is 8 years, it will be the 9th budget coming up now, number one will be education. So the budget item, the biggest budget item in this country, because we needed that. And I believe we did good. I believe we tried to ramp up the problems. Of course, with the money coming in, with the people getting more educated, our growth in population goes also down. The hardest to implement is to crack the bureaucracy. By the way, still today, it is still the hardest thing. Because bureaucrats, especially in those days, but even a lot today even, are they don't want to let the power loose. They don't want to privatize. They don't want to, and with privatization I don't mean not only companies, every single thing what they're doing, which we try to give to the people, back to the people. You know, the idea in Turkey was there is a state and you do everything for the state. So we knew that we have to change that. I mean, it's the people, not the state. That was the main task, actually. I mean, that the state should do things for the people. Because until we came to power, I mean, everybody said, okay, you die for it, you do this, you do that, our state gives money. No way. The state doesn't give money, you give the money. I mean, if the state spends so and so much for agricultural products which has no value, it's not the state who's paying that. It's everybody out there who's paying that. This to explain to people was very tough. Nowadays, I think the people outside understood on the street that it is their money we're spending, but still the bureaucracy grabs on everything. Since we had our crisis back in 2001, the financial crisis, and we built up the bölgedeki, the banking authorities, etc., very tough ones, while the others did that only after the last crisis, after 2008. So because of that, our banks were doing really, really good, as you know, and the financial system is really good. And that's why I personally do not fear, and I give advices to my customers, to the companies I'm working with, all over the world, from the US to Germany to Russia to the Gulf countries. I'm working with a lot of different companies, and I'm telling them, you don't have to be afraid. I mean, I'm still investing my own money to this country, otherwise I would go out to do whatever I want somewhere else. But I still invest here in this country because the only risk which I see is because of the very quick growth. Of course, the industry, the export industry, cannot cope up with that. Consumption is much quicker. You are getting very quick. This young population is getting very quick. They like to consume very quick. And while the industry, the opening of the markets, especially in crisis time all over the world, is not that quick. So the gap is very big, and between exports and imports. And of course we have other stuff like tourism and this and that, but it's not enough. We have to get foreign direct investments. And as I tried to say in the beginning, what I see from my own companies I'm working with, the word is out. It's Turkey to go. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. They want to invest in this country from all over the world. So with that, I think we need, until this word is out, until after the word is out, people see it, they digest it, and then they look at it, and then they invest really. It's 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And sometimes when they start to invest, it's going already the other way down. But anyways, so now it's time, I think, we need a few years more, this stability in Turkey, and they will come. My company, the main company I'm working with, for an example, is ready to invest billions and billions if I can bring them the right projects. And with this, I think we can overcome this FDI problem. Because the word is out. With that I meant, it's not only what a few rating institutes are saying about Turkey, it is what they really see about Turkey, what they hear and see themselves about Turkey. Because as I told you, I mean, the ratings does not reflect the real thing here in Turkey, what's going on. And that's why it happened, it did come quite late. But on the other hand, we are getting a lot of FDIs. Maybe you remember it was 600 million in the beginning, a year, 695 million or something like that per year coming in 2002. And just before the crisis, it was 20-something billion per year. It's not enough, though. It's not enough. We have to bring in much more. I mean, right now I'm after a project where only one company wants to invest 2.5 billion, and not in energy. I mean, normal industrial projects. Right after the election, I think it was the 10th day after election, we started our journeys to all the European capitals, and even 3rd of December, even to Washington. And the main idea was, again, like we did with my small group in economy, it was like a roadshow of the government. We had our foreign minister with us. Yaşar Yakış was foreign minister back then. And we went with the prime minister. He was party leader. But everybody knew he was the guy. So we went with him, I believe, to every single European capital. I think we did 17 or something. In those years, we didn't have 20-something. And I remember doing 3 capitals a day sometimes. And somewhere breakfast, somewhere lunch, somewhere dinner. And we tried to explain ourselves that we are not the ones they think we are. Because please ask your American friends, when AK Party won the election, a long time the American ambassador didn't come to congratulate us. It took a long time until he came to the party. So there must be quite confusion there of what kind of people we were back then. And we tried to explain that we have economical policies are totally liberal, and foreign policies, we made our aim to join the EU. Because, very simple, because what else could we tell our people? Because our young generation had to have a direction, and the leader had to show them where to go. What is the aim? Where you're heading to? We could go, it was clear that Russia would be a next very interesting partner, Iran, Russia, that direction. We could do what our big brothers wanted to from us, you know, in those years, Egypt, Israel, US, you know, Egypt, Israel, Turkey would be wonderful for them, of course. Years since the 70s, starting of the 70s with the oil crisis. I think 74, somewhere around that. These 25 years, very, very high inflationary, made the country go totally out of the middle class. So we had a very, very few upper classes, and then nothing. I mean, the question should be maybe how, because to explain what is the difference, everybody sees that you just need to go out. I mean, everybody coming to Turkey, and it doesn't have to be Istanbul anymore. Before it was only Istanbul, the show off. I mean, the showcase was Istanbul, but right now you can go everywhere. And right now, today, as I just tried to explain, we already have a middle class again. It's back here. So the average Turk has a computer. Everybody has 1 point something of those things here. And so I mean, to compare, it's really not possible. Turkey in 2002 was totally from the inflation, from the very, very high inflations of the last 20 something. Where you go to Urfa or whatever, and you will see the difference. Right now, I have friends who are building business hotels, 4 stars, even 5 stars, to a lot of Marash and cities like that. And I mean, if a businessman invests in millions